Sometimes we let our emotions manage money before we do. Now, money doesn't solve everything, but it sure does reveals what needs healing within us. It reveals that financial trauma is present because money is a mirror. Once it's in our hand, it reflects what's already in us. And we pray and ask God for increase, and meanwhile, our mindset and our emotions snatches it away as soon as it comes in our possession. Your spending habits, your saving patterns, the way you avoid budgeting, the way you over budget, the way you spend emotionally when you're hurt or freeze up when it's time to invest in yourself. These are not just money problems. These are emotional imprints, and these are signs of financial trauma. And financial trauma is what happens when our past money experiences, usually rooted in lack, instability, or chaos, it leaves deep emotional imprints in us. And just like any other trauma, when it's left undone, it shows up in our now, where you feel undeserving of abundance, where you keep reliving and allowing your past financial failures to keep you hostage instead of trusting the woman or the man that you've become now. You hear emergency fund or any other conversation about money, and you either panic, shrink, or detach yourself from the conversation. And unfortunately, it's our past financial trauma that has shaped how we view money and how we use money. So if you grew up where money was always tight, or there was always very little things we can get because we couldn't afford this or we couldn't afford that, boom, that's back associated to money. And it can make you falsely believe that you're just not good with money, but that's not it, because that's not where it started. This is the place where scarcity mindset is birthed, and is where financial trauma starts. Having repeated encounters with lack, not just lack of money, but lack of safety, lack of stability, or trust in your ability to bounce back financially. It comes from wounds, from watching your parents juggle bills, from growing up here and we can't afford this or we can't afford that, from being denied opportunities simply because money was tight. And as adults, those wounds shows up in two extremes. You either spend and swipe recklessly because now you no longer get to hear, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. You no longer get to hear, not right now, maybe later. And now that you're an adult, I get to buy what I want because no one gets to tell me no. And now you're operating with no boundaries and no consideration of checks and balances because you're operating from a wounded place of lack and not enough from your past. So I get to buy this because I remember when I couldn't get anything and I watched others get everything. Or the other extreme, you're so used to lack that any step up you get, you hold on to it for dear life because you don't know if it'll be your last, because you're still stuck in survival mode. And you still think, move, and react out of staying and being in survival mode. So you see abundance as a trick. You don't know when it's going to go away. You hoard everything, not just money, but things we don't know when we'll need. And that thing has been sitting there for almost 5 years collecting dust. So you either can't hold on to anything because as soon as it hits your hand, you react from an emotionally wounded place of lack, or you hold tight to everything, clenching and living in survival mode when you're no longer there. So if we can get the overspending under control by facing and dealing with where it's rooted from, ask yourself, was I denied or told no repeatedly when I was younger because my family couldn't afford things? Or maybe they could, but they just didn't have it for me, but I watched them buy it for others. And now that denied little boy, that denied little girl is wreaking havoc in your adult life because he or she won't stop spending. And meanwhile, the adult version of you is responsible for this debt mess that the little one made. You have to deal with that. So when the little one rise up, you remind him or her, we're not there anymore. You don't have to buy things just because I remember when. You're not there anymore. But you have to heal so that you can move with wisdom and logic when money hits not the little girl or the little boy's hand, but the grown woman's hand and the grown man's hand. And we get the hoarder of money under control by realizing I'm not there anymore. I actually have abundance in comparison to where I was. And abundance isn't a trick because abundance will only turn into lack if I mismanage it. And oh, let me add this. You may have made some terrible decisions in the past with your money, and you still haven't released yourself from it. And it's scary trusting the woman or the man that you've grown to be now. So it seems safer to just be still. But when a major financial decision comes up, your anxiety goes through the roof because you're so afraid of messing up again. You're so afraid of losing again. You don't know what to trust or who to trust. You barely even trust yourself. So everything and every thought that you have and any feedback that you get, it's all confusing because you're still holding yourself hostage. So if you don't get where it started under control, you're either going to stay loyal to an outdated way of handling money that won't serve you. You'll either stay loyal to spending recklessly or you'll stay loyal to playing it safe. I call it mindset trapped in history. It only holds on to old traditions like keeping your money in a savings account that you've had since 1993. Instead of taking your savings from the bank that's paying you pennies on a dollar or barely even that and putting it in a high yield savings account or a money market so your money can work while it sits. It holds on to old traditions like y'all better stay from that stock market before you lose all your money. Instead of saying, I'm always ordering from Amazon, I'm always shopping at Costco's, me and my family all got iPhones and MacBooks and iPads. Let me own a share of Amazon. Let me own a share of Costco. Let me own a share of Apple. If I'm going to buy the products, I may as well own a piece of the company. It holds on to resisting and fighting financial education because old traditions taught you, don't let no one know you don't know something. And now you're too afraid to ask to learn about something that you don't know because of the shame of not knowing, or you judging yourself with what you think you should know already. So you just stay silent because you don't want others to know what you don't know. So it's safer to hold on with what worked 15 years ago. The housing market ain't even what it was years ago. Groceries ain't even what it was years ago. Used cars ain't even what it was years ago. Everything has shot up and has grown and has evolved and has even inflated, which means the mindset trapped in history will surely be left behind. So if you grew up in a home where all you heard was fighting and arguing about money, there may be some financial trauma there that has shaped your thoughts about having money or not having money. If after grandma and granddaddy or someone close to you passed away and money and assets became the battlefield that broke bonds and relationships, there may be some financial trauma there that taught you money destroys rather than build. If you made major mistakes in the past that costed you big time, or if you lost your career like I did and you had to start over from scratch, ashamed and uncertain, then yes, there may be financial trauma there too. And it might be shaping not just your money moves, but your entire approach in life. Because building wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with mindset. That's why I always say, your mindset is the key to unlocking your financial freedom. It's time to leave behind what's comfortable for what's possible. All we have is now, so start now.